time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Indeed it does on a Tuesday, and great to have you with us all across America and Canada. We got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes. We'll get into some baseball. One of the best stories in baseball all year, involving the Guardians. We'll get to that coming up a little later on. And then one of the worst stories in baseball this year, the Yankees. We're the sun and the moon all at once. But we start things out in the NFL, and we bring in our friend, the preeminently qualified, and from what I understand, not the mystery woman that Aaron Rodgers is married to. Dianna Russini joins the show, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Dianna.
Yeah, he's got good taste. He's smart not to marry me. I am not fun to be married to. It is.
Me neither.
It seems great on paper, but the reality of it, my husband would weigh in from the other room if he could. But yeah, I am not the mystery woman, and we all know I would probably be his last choice. So, but good for him. Congratulations to Aaron Rodgers. I'm curious to see what this is going to look like out in Pittsburgh.
How is NFL training camp season treating you?
Wild as ever. It is still only early August, and if you told me it was October 8th, I'd believe you. And we haven't even played games here. But there's just been a lot of news. Obviously, we got a lot of contract situations, hold-ins, holdouts. We had that unfortunate mass shooting in New York City at the NFL offices. So it's been busy. So usually that means it's going to get busier when I talk about it. So I don't want to talk about it anymore.
What's going on? What is going on with the Micah Parsons situation? Because you were one of the first to get on that last week. As a matter of fact, we were taping the show when your tweet went out, or your post went out on X, and Sam was like, Dianna Russini said this. So where are we right now? Like, is this cooling a little bit? Is there a cooling off period? Like, where are we?
Yeah, I hope your reaction was just like the rest of the world's, which is like, okay. I don't think a lot of people were buying it, which is always funny when you're kind of watching the world melt down, because the Cowboys fans, they don't want it to be true, because Cowboys don't ask for trades. They don't do that there, right? Other organizations deal with that, but not in Dallas.
Sure.
So look, Micah laid out his side of it, and everyone listening has probably read it, but if they haven't, the Cliff Notes version is he spent a few days with Jerry Jones talking about this contract, and he thought it was just a discussion. Jerry Jones thought that was a negotiation. But when it came down to just laying this thing out on paper, Jerry did not want to get his representation involved. He didn't want Parsons' agent to really be part of this negotiation at all, which is something Jerry Jones has done in the past with star players. And of course, Micah's agent is like, we're not doing a deal like this without me being part of this. And so since then, things have soured, because both sides will not engage in any conversation until Jerry Jones agrees that he will negotiate a new contract with the agent and not with Micah Parsons.
Am I crazy to suspect that this probably happens more times than we think? Because you and I both work in the entertainment industry. Management loves to try and cut out agents whenever they can, because agents are there to represent the client, and it gets messier with an agent. I dealt with one recently on a person that we were trying to negotiate a deal with a few years ago. So I don't know if it's that shocking to me that somebody's trying to cut out the agent. Does it happen more than we think?
Look, the two owners that I think probably have done it, I don't know how many times, but you think of Robert Kraft with Tom Brady. We've heard some of those stories in the past where he just dealt with Tom. Mm-hmm. But the Jerry dealing with the player is definitely more of a thing than it is in other organizations. I don't think it's as common.
Really?
Like, I'm with you. Like, GMs don't want to deal with agents, but think about the setup in Dallas. It's unique because Jerry is the GM. He's the owner and the general manager. So that's not as common. We have owners involved a lot, but in terms of the actual negotiation, I have a hard time imagining Jed York sitting with Brock Purdy going, all right, let's knock this out together. I don't think that happens that much. So yeah, this is why it is a story, because it's not good practice at all. it's not legal, actually. Like, he needs to go through the agent, and that's something the NFLPA is screaming from the rooftop of. This isn't the right way to do it. So this also feels really personal. You know, you talk about entertainment. Jerry has the stomach for this. He's negotiated thousands of contracts in the NFL and in his own businesses. So I think he's fine with all this. I think Micah's fine with it. I know if Micah's agent's fine with it. He's done a lot as well. Mm-hmm. But this feels... I've been getting asked a lot. Is Micah Parsons going to be a Dallas Cowboy? I feel good at this point saying yeah. But
Me too.
I don't think things are great right now. You know, again, still early August.
Okay.
Let's see where this goes. I just don't think there's going to be a negotiation until these two just have a conversation and go, all right, let's talk this out and do what's best for the Dallas Cowboys and what's best for Micah.
Dianna, from the maybe oldest ownership group in the football world to the newest, there's a holdout going on in D.C. Terry McLaurin. Do you think he's going to be a Commander this season? What's the chances that he plays for another team?
Yeah, I don't feel it being as nasty in Washington as it feels in Dallas when you talk to people that are close to the situation. Is Terry frustrated? Yes. I think, is he hurt? Yeah. He's meant so much to the team. He's the gold standard of an athlete. Everything he does is with class. And by the way, this isn't even me saying it. This is Washington saying it. Right? Like, look at how they talk about him. Dan Quinn even revealed recently that when Terry asked for a trade, he gave Dan a heads up on that. That doesn't happen all the time. Players usually find ways to make it as comfortable as possible for everyone who is part of the organization. But Terry felt that he needed to do the professional thing. So, look, the age is the hang up. Terry will be 30 years old on September 15th, in just about a month. Yet he is the best weapon that this team has. And when you look at the other receivers that are getting paid, we can't hide behind the fact that they're younger. They are, outside of Tyreek Hill. The top receivers that are on new deals are 25, 26, 27 years old. And they can argue as much as they can the value of Terry McLaurin on this roster. But again, you can't change his birthday. So with that being said, bigger picture, they've got a quarterback on a rookie deal. Mm-hmm. They've got tons of money to spend over the next few years anyways. These are champagne problems. These are good problems Washington's having. It's just going to come down to whether or not they can kind of meet halfway here. But as of right now, they're still far apart.
Dianna Russini of The Athletic, the Scoop City podcast, is coming back. More with the NFL Insider next. All right, another segment with Dianna Russini, the preeminently qualified NFL insider with The Athletic. Scoop City podcast with Chase Daniel as well. Sam, you had a question about the Bills. Go.
Yeah, Dianna, I wanted to talk about the James Cook situation because it truly is a weird one in terms of hold out, hold in, who knows what's going on. Obviously, he showed up for training camp, practiced the first couple of days, and then said that his hold in is beginning on day 7 or 8 of training camp. What's your read on the situation, and what are you hearing out of Buffalo?
Well, it's funny because you look around the league at all the other hold-ins and even holdouts with Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati, how he started that and he arrived. It's like nobody is doing it this way, right? Most are either choosing to stay away initially and then come, or stay away completely, or just show up like we've seen Micah Parsons do every single day and just not do much. This one's different. This is a weird one. It's clear that James Cook is an important part of this Bills offense. You could argue he's maybe the second most important person on the Bills offense right now. So there's definitely a priority in trying to get this done. You know, they're not messing around in Buffalo, from what I understand. Like, they're trying to work with his representation to try to come to an agreement. In fact, I was told recently that things weren't as far apart as you would think when a player is deciding to hold in. So I do think the good news is this will get ironed out. this just may be one of those situations where we look back on and go, why did you even do it that way? But that being said, I don't think this agent has as much experience as we've seen other agents that are handling these type of contracts and deals. But either way, he may be able to get what he wants. We'll see how this shakes out.
I don't know how far removed you are from the Christian Wilkins situation with the Raiders. This is bizarre, with everything that's transpired there. And there is just nothing but rampant speculation right now. And it's rare that something stays so buttoned up that we never really find out the details or it never leaks out somewhere. And it seems like everybody's talking amongst themselves about it, but nobody's talking to the media and putting out a story about what really happened with him. I've heard everything from sexual orientation related, and I don't know. And I don't know if anybody truly knows, or if people know and they're just not saying it because it's a taboo subject in some way, shape, or form. Dianna, what is going on with this?
Yeah, I think there is a lot going on with it, actually, which I think there's layers to it, too. Obviously, the medical side to all of this is without a doubt the headliner, that the team really encouraged him to get a surgery. He chose not to, and they've been going back and forth with him. Then you have the sidebar to all of this, which is basically that during a team meeting, or at least the position group meeting, he kissed he kissed a teammate on the side of the head, and that player then informed his coach of what happened, and then he was encouraged to go to human resources. That is, from the conversations I've had with people, that is true. And that there was some uncomfortable situations, and the player has a lot of playful ways, as it was described to me, that have made his teammates feel uncomfortable. And he's done this for a while. There were video clips going around on Twitter from his days in college of some bizarre behavior on the field with touching certain players and how he was doing it. You could see it right on the film. You don't even need to talk to anybody. It's right there. So it's strange. I can tell you, talking to some people that are part of the organization, I sensed relief when they released him. I think there was a lot more that wasn't getting out about problems they were having with him in terms of his behavior and being a professional. I think that's really what it comes down to. And then, of course, as I led with here, just the health side to this. So now it's really a matter, he's going to get another surgery. So I'm not sure when he's going to be ready to play. But the next question is going to be, is there going to be a team willing to sort of step back into this, knowing that it comes with some problems and distractions? But I mean, this is a guy during free agency, guys, that I remember at the combine talking to teams that were just licking their chops trying to get him on their team. So he's talented. It's just going to be whether or not a team wants to take what we'll call just a swing on him.
Dianna, the Browns added another quarterback to their stockpile yesterday. This time, Pro Bowler Snoop Huntley joins the room. What message does this send to the NFL at this point, that the Browns are rostering 5 quarterbacks in training camp right now?
Be a quarterback instead of playing catch at my son's out back with a baseball. I should be having them throw a football, because backup quarterbacks will always have a job. I work with one every single day on my show. It's his second year out of the league, Chase Daniel, and we joke all the time, like, he should just go back, make $10 million. Some team will pay you. He can still play.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy Bridgewater is going back to Tampa. Yeah. So look, to me, Cleveland, it's the old rule. When you have this many quarterbacks, you probably don't have any. Now, I do think Joe Flacco is fine for now, right? Because he's been in the system before. He knows what Kevin Stefanski wants. He knows what he likes. But we saw Flacco last year. It wasn't great. My colleague Mike Silver has a piece on The Athletic right now on Joe Flacco. And Joe knows, like, he's got the most experience and the most edge over all these guys right now. But they don't have an answer. I have concerns for Cleveland right now.
Let me ask you though. There's been a ton of rumblings of them trading one of these quarterbacks. How do any of them have value, and who's a possible suitor? I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, I think I don't think they're there yet, right? Because I think they're figuring it all out of who is. First of all, health is obviously a big issue there, right? It seems that every day another Browns quarterback is going down, which is why this has become a carousel. And I do think it probably sounds worse than it may be because of the injuries. It seems like every day there's someone new. But Kenny Pickett obviously is trying to come back from injury here. He claims that he wants to try to win this job. Joe Flacco's fine. Shador is there. I don't think Shador's winning anything at this point. I think a lot of people want to believe that he can. He's not there. He's still a rookie. He's young. So I think once we get closer to the start of the season, usually that 4th week of training camp, that's when you start seeing these moves made. So we'll see what other team is going to be in need of a quarterback, but I don't think there's a quarterback on that roster right now that another team's calling going. I mean, look, they just signed Teddy Bridgewater in Tampa. I have a hard time believing they called Cleveland for anyone there. And by the way, Snoop has been there in Cleveland. He was there a year ago.
He was.
And they liked him. They liked him there. So we'll see if maybe he's added to the competition here for starter.
Good Lord. Dianna Russini, Scoop City Podcast with Chase Daniel, also great insider with The Athletic. Thank you, Dianna.
Thanks, guys. Great talking about you.
All right, we take it to segment number 3 on the show. Move away from the NFL for the time being. Let's get back to baseball. The boys of summer continue to do their thing. Sam Yarnell. Let's do a little bit of the good, bad, and the ugly from Major League Baseball. And there is nothing gooder. There is nothing better than this story out of Cleveland. Look, you've got this guy for the Guardians that's been battling cancer, lymphoma, in fact, Hodgkin's lymphoma, diagnosed in late 22, Nick Enright. And he's going through treatment now. He's scheduled to complete his treatments, later in this year. And he gave up an unearned run in the 10th inning on Monday night as the Guardians closed out a 7-6 win over the Mets. Forget the wins and losses and all of the stuff we talk about on this show. To be going through something like that, I have a friend, literally a friend, somebody that lives in our complex that we've become friends with here in Las Vegas that was just diagnosed with cancer. And watching what this person is going through, literally within just the last week, he was diagnosed. And watching what this person is going through. And they've caught it early and they think he's going to be okay. But just the word cancer and what it is to go through that, let alone trying to navigate the world of being a professional athlete, let alone navigating the world of being a relief pitcher in baseball, which could be a tenuous sort of existence as it is professionally speaking. And then to be, going through all of this and to go out and get a save. It's just, it's one of the best stories in baseball this year, Sam.
Yeah, it 100% is, Jason, and I think it takes you back to Liam Hendricks, right? Very similar kind of story. Closing pitcher in the AL Central at the time, as a matter of fact, with the White Sox, who battled cancer and fought his way all the way back and finally made it back to pro baseball, and eventually from the White Sox to the Red Sox, I believe, or maybe it was from the White Sox to the Athletics to the Red Sox, or some denomination of those three. But yeah, it is always super impressive. There was another cancer survivor who was around in Major League Baseball for a long time, a first baseman for the Orioles, and now I'm forgetting his
Trey
name.
Mancini.
And thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, the Orioles and then Astros first baseman.
Still
Trey
in the
Mancini.
minors. He's still trying to get back to the majors. Actually, he's still playing in the minors, I believe. Yeah.
Well, good. But it is always great to see these stories of these guys battle their way all the way back from, a disease that, especially as a professional athlete whose job it is to take care of your body, can derail a career. So yeah, 100% awesome to see what Nick Enright did last night. Super proud of him, super happy for him. And hopefully the Guardians can turn it into a playoff push. They're only 2.5 games out of the last wild card spot right now.
And certainly rallying around him. And Stephen Vogt after the game actually said he was almost crying on the field. You're talking about a guy that was drafted in the 20th round in 2019. So you're a long shot at that point as it is. I mean, so I mean, you want to talk about having to fight your way and having sort of that fighting mentality, and being able to take that and put it towards something is as scary and as unknown as cancer could be. And baseball does these great initiatives with Stand Up to Cancer and all these things. And every year at the All-Star game, everybody holds up their signs. And they might do it during the World Series as well, where everybody holds up their signs. And sometimes I look at these things and I'm just kind of like, okay, but really? And then you hear something like this, and it really grabs you. It makes it much more real, as opposed to, just the things that the MLB does and talks about, and no doubt puts tons of money towards, along with MasterCard. But still, just the gravity of it was not lost on me, and I wanted to make sure we spend a few minutes on something good to talk about in this world where there is so much bad. And trust me, in segment 5, we'll get to the bad and the ridiculous. Aaron Judge is coming back for the Yankees, and not a moment too soon. The Yankees lost their 4th in a row last night after getting swept by the Marlins. They're up 5-4 late, falling extras to the Rangers 8-5, Sam. And, I mean, it is like, I've said it before, it's DEFCON 1 for the Yankees right now. They can't, again, for me, they can't lose enough. They cannot lose enough. As Imus used to say, they can't suck enough right now for me. Okay? They cannot. Because if it means the end of the Aaron Boone era in New York, I am all about it. Miss the playoffs. It's fine. But Aaron Judge is coming back.
This is the head-scratching part to me. They went 4-6 in the games that Aaron Judge missed. Without Aaron Judge, what was your expectation for this team? You expected them to do much better than 4-6 when you had to go up against the Phillies, the Rays, the Marlins, who are the hottest team in baseball right now, let's not forget, and the Texas Rangers. Listen, I'm the guy who sat here and told you that I think the Yankees are going to miss the playoffs, but it's certainly not because of the lack of Aaron Judge or what they've done in his absence. I think, if anything, they've done a great job picking themselves up by their bootstraps in his absence. Now, do I think him coming back will help them and turn them from a, 400 team over their last 10 games to a 700 team the rest of the way? No shot. Do I think that there's a realistic chance that they're as good with Aaron Judge injured, as he very clearly is going the rest of the way, as they have been without him in the lineup? Yeah, probably. I think this is probably about a 400 ball club the rest of the way, which is how they'll miss the playoffs. Listen, the problem with the Yankees is not, at this point, a problem that Aaron Judge himself can solve. It's a problem, like I laid out on the show yesterday, that is organizational and has failed them at multiple levels at this point. It feels weird to say it, but all you can do if you're the Yankees right now is blow it up and try to rebuild. That's all I got for you.
And that's never going to happen. The Yankees will never blow it up. The only thing I want them to blow up is, and figuratively speaking, is what's going on in the manager's office right now. It's the only thing figuratively I want them to blow up. I really do wonder, like, if this thing goes really south, they lose like 15 of 20. They're in this stretch where they're 4-7 without him. I really wonder if they'd make a change, or if they're going to wait until after the season. I wonder.
You remember how long Joe Girardi managed this team for, right?
I do. Listen, I've seen it. I've been on the ride. I've been on the ride before. I get it.
But, it's funny. The Yankees are Jerry Jones-esque in this way. Oh. They love that they're going to continue to be the center of attention, and people are going to keep talking about them.
I don't think Aaron Boone likes it, man. He wishes he was in, like, Cleveland right now or Cincinnati, where the media is like, ooh, milk and cookies. We love you, Cleveland and Cincinnati. We're coming back. All right, we're going through the good, bad, and the ugly in Major League Baseball. Talked about the great story of Nick Enright. Talked about the great story. And I am calling it a great story, even though it is the bad. And that is the Yankees. It's a great story because as long as they keep losing, Aaron Boone won't be the manager of the team next year. There is the ugly as well to talk about. But I want to talk about some odds, Sam, because a lot of times we kind of throw in the odds stuff in baseball and in sports. But we had a little extra time today, so I wanted to go through some of the award season odds stuff, as well as some of the World Series odds that are out there that we sometimes just mention in passing. Start with the American League MVP. Aaron Judge right now is still the favorite at minus 280. Has Cal Raleigh dropped off that much that he's only plus 210 with Aaron Judge having missed, the last 2 weeks essentially, Sam?
Yes, Cal Raleigh has tanked, as one of us on the show predicted he might do down the stretch. He's hitting like under 200 over the last month. He absolutely in the can right now. Again, however, this is a race, Jason, that I would not anywhere near call over because you're about to get Aaron Judge back with what sounds like a similar injury to that which made Giancarlo Stanton miss multiple months of the season, right? You've got Cal Raleigh hitting like 130 over the last 2 weeks. I am not shutting the door on Jose Ramirez. I am not shutting the door on Tarek Skubal. I think they could both very easily work their way into this conversation.
Yeah, Skubal's the one that I'm really got an eye on. Like I might run to my nearest legal bookmaking institution today and put some hard-earned American money on Tarek Skubal. That's the one to me that if I'm going anywhere, that's where I'm going. What surprised me was waking up today and seeing the National League MVP odds narrow as much as they have. Shohei Ohtani is still the favorite at minus 550. And if you put, the proverbial gun to my head, I'm going to tell you that Shohei Ohtani is probably going to win the MVP. But that number was much bigger just a day or two ago. And now Kyle Schwarber has narrowed it to plus 440. Sam Yarnell. Pete Crow Armstrong, by the way, 16-1 to win MVP is the third best odds.
$3.60. That is what one home run, while a crazed, insane fan base chants MVP, is apparently worth in the market these days. Kyle Schwarber was 8-1 before he hit his second home run last night. I got news for you, Phillies fans. Kyle Schwarber's not going to come anywhere close to winning this award. Maybe he'll come close to second place. The fact of the matter is, when you have a player that's as big of a defensive liability as Schwarber is and as big of a base running liability as Schwarber is, he almost single-handedly takes himself out of the MVP candidacy. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani is going to win this award. It is a foregone conclusion. He is the only player doing what he is doing. I don't care if he hits 200 and pitches to a 4 ERA. He would still be the most valuable player in the National League this year.
Even if the Dodgers didn't win the division?
That won't happen, but yes.
I wouldn't count out anything right now.
What if the Phillies don't win the division? That's a lot more likely to happen than the Dodgers not winning the division.
Right now, the Dodgers are up 3 on the Padres, and they're going to play them a bunch here over the next few weeks. I think they're going to play like 6 times, something like that.
Yeah, 6 times,
if I'm not mistaken. So the Dodgers up 3 right now on the Padres. The Phillies up a game and a half on the Mets right now in the National League East. Cy Young Award, Tarek Skubal is still a big favorite there at minus 750. We can move away from that. But the National League Cy Young is still very interesting with Paul Skeens at minus 220 and Zach Wheeler at plus 190. Sam, what is holding back Skeens at this point?
The fact that he's on a horrible baseball team, that's all it is, Jason. I mean, if you flip the jerseys between Zach Wheeler and Paul Skeens has the Tarek Skubal number next to his name. This number comes down quite literally to the fact that the Pirates are a horrible baseball team, and the Phillies, who, by the way, have the next 2 guys in terms of odds to win the NL Cy Young, they're a first-place baseball team, right? They're a team that's almost guaranteed to make the playoffs this year. So, to me, that's what it is. Skeens will win the award, but the reason that the number is so short is because the Pirates suck.
It is amazing how the AL Rookie of the Year race has flipped on its head. Nick Kurtz was sort of an afterthought, kind of a, hey, nice story, but he's 4th or 5th in the AL Rookie of the Year standings because obviously, what Jacob Wilson was doing. And now with Wilson hurt, the numbers sort of dropped off even before he got hurt, and Nick Kurtz just mashing. It's a runaway with Kurtz at minus 7,000 right now to win AL Rookie of the Year, Sam. It's quite the turnaround.
It is, but the odds to me may not reflect the probability, just because if you look through the list, they're no longer hanging a Jacob Wilson number. So you can't bet the head-to-head, which makes it seem to me like they have an ability there, obviously, to inflate the Kurtz number even more. Very curious to me. I'm interested to see where the Wilson number lands when they pop it back up, obviously when he comes back, if he comes back this season. But yeah, it's been incredible. Nick Kurtz is fifth in MVP odds right now.
Yes,
he is absolutely tearing it up. Shout out to Wake Forest.
Drake Baldwin, by the way, minus 180 to win NL Rookie of the Year. Agustin Ramirez at plus 450, Sam.
I'm hesitant on this one. I think Augustin Ramirez has a real chance in this race, especially if the Marlins keep playing as well as they have been.
Yeah, it's a great story what the Marlins are doing right now. All right, we got more to do in the show. I said if the Nick Enright story was the best story of the day, what we're doing in the next segment, probably the worst story of the day. It's next. All right, Odds and Ends wraps it up in about 10 minutes. This could fall into the category of odd. But I figured we'd parlay it with a little bit of WNBA news as well, because there's some interesting news from the W to get to. You may have heard of this rash of, by rash I mean a couple incidents, that qualifies as a rash, of incidents, Sam Yarnell, in the WNBA where people have thrown sex toys onto the court. And in one instance, a WNBA fan has been charged in College Park, Georgia. Police there have arrested Delbert Carver. Just pause. Let's all just take a second let's all just take a moment. Georgia, sex toy being thrown onto the court, Delbert Carver. It all adds up, doesn't it? It really. Let's just soak that in for a moment. On Saturday, he allegedly threw a sex toy onto the court. You've all probably seen it by now. During last Tuesday's Valkyries Atlanta Dream game at Gateway Center Arena, the 23-year-old facing counts of disorderly conduct, public indecency, indecent exposure, and criminal trespass. He was booked. I mean, of all the things, Sam, of all the reasons to wind up getting yourself in trouble with the law, this is one that it truly is just confounding to me.
Yeah, it'll be fun in, 5 years when he's at a job interview and they ask what that blemish on his rap sheet is. That'll be certainly an interesting. I want to know how he explains that. I really do. Do you tell the hiring manager who's potentially about to begin your next step in a potential career? Oh, yeah, well, you see, there was this Valkyries Dream game, and I thought it'd be really funny to throw a you-know-what on the court, and it went viral.
I just can't.
Just weird behavior, man.
What are we doing? What are we doing in this country? I mean, seriously, and this is just an aside. I'm just going to throw this in for a second. And I know I'm going to get crushed. Throw it in. I'm going to get crushed for what I'm about to say. I am going to get crushed. But I've traveled a bit. I'm not the most worldly person, but I've traveled a bit. When I travel to other parts of the world and I tell them, and they find out, oh, you're from the United States, there's always this little side eye that you get now that didn't exist a decade or 2 decades ago. You get this look like, oh, you're from there. I remember going through immigration once in Singapore. True story. I remember going through immigration once. It was right before the election where Biden got elected, or after he had gotten elected, but in between when he was president-elect. I was going through immigration in Singapore. And they literally, when they were checking my passport, the guy was like, "Oh, you're from the U.S." Literally, they just laughed at me because of sort of what was going on in our country at the time. Like, that you kind of go through this thing. And it's stories like this that bring, ill repute on our country. When people see these things, I mean, if you're somebody in the other part of the world, tell me another part of the world where something like this is happening, Sam.
No, come on, because
Yes.
in Europe, I'll tell you this: the whole.
Don't tell me about crazy soccer
prankster-
people. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying like
No,
crazy soccer people.
it is a little bit about soccer people, but the whole prankster, I'm going to film this, it's going to go viral on, back in the day, it was YouTube. That whole thing started, weirdly enough, in Russia. Like, that was a huge thing in Russia back in the early days of the internet. And then obviously it was taken to a massive scale on a sports stage with a guy named Vitaly, who I think is now in European prison in some country for doing exactly this. But we, as true, and now I'll do my thing that everyone's going to crush me for, in true American fashion, what did we do? We took something the Europeans had success with, we made it slightly more vulgar, and all of a sudden, it overtook the whole world. That's exactly what happened, Jason.
In real WNBA news, Nafisha Collier going to be out for 2 weeks with an ankle sprain. And I wonder if this impacts her MVP odds. Right now, she's minus 750. Alyssa Thomas is the next closest at plus 500. It's a 2-horse race, so to speak. But still feels like it's fee to me.
Yeah, it's definitely fee. I mean, and I know every time we have this conversation, I always say, Asia Wilson. Here's the thing. The Aces season is cooked. I didn't keep up with the WNBA trade deadline, but they should have been selling all. Like, this is a colossal blow up season for the Las Vegas Aces. Not worried about Fee winning the MVP. She still will. Championship wise, obviously with the injury, the Liberty are now the favorites over the Lynx. I think that's very interesting, but it again feels like a collision course between those two teams, and by the time Fee comes back, it'll be a great series between Ionescu, Stewie, and Fee all on the court at once. That'll be fun.
I'll tell you, real quick, Indiana's won 5 in a row right now without Caitlin Clark. They're going to be in no rush to bring her back because they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs whether she's on the court or not. So I think they're going to baby this, maybe bring her back with a game or two left in the regular season. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring her back sooner than that because of what she means, obviously, to the league. But I find it very interesting right now that Indiana is finding ways to win without her. Again, they've won 8 of their last 10. And you mentioned Las Vegas. They are still in the playoffs as the 7th seed right now. Golden State is your 8th seed. So some interesting stuff going on right now in the WNBA. All right, stick around. We've got odds and ends right around the corner. We say goodbye to Sam. We'll see him tomorrow. We're back with odds and ends next. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Tuesday. A reminder, if you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast, available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon, anywhere you get a podcast. You can get this show commercial-free, Monday through Friday, available early every afternoon. 45 minutes. You can listen to it while you're driving to work, on your way, to drop the kids off at baseball practice, while you're in the shower, planes, trains, automobiles, all that good stuff. Make sure to check out the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. Now, in addition to being on over 270 affiliates across the U.S. and Canada, and that number is growing, by the way, you can also watch this show on Spotify, Monday through Friday. Again, we upload it early in the afternoon. You can watch the show there, again, commercial-free, and subscribe. It's simple. It's free. It's easy. Do it. What are you waiting for? In addition, you can watch us on the YouTube channel, Sports Wrap with Jason Page, the YouTube channel. Doesn't get any easier than that to remember. It's the same name as the show. You can go and watch the show there. We also have Sports Wrap Shorts And what are sports wrap shorts? You hear me mention them on the show. Well, a lot of times we do interviews and conversations with various guests. Sometimes those interviews run longer than we can use for television. Where does that extra content go? Sports wrap shorts. We also have, stories that break sometimes outside of our window for putting the show together. Sports wrap shorts. Go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. Again, it's free, easy, helps us out. We appreciate it. And without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends. Let my silence speak volumes here. I'll let the music fill the space here for just a moment. Maybe it's a moment of silence. Because ESPN's made a really interesting decision in hiring Katie Feeney, a social media star with over 14 million followers. And she is being hired just ahead of the start of the 2025 NFL season. And you really do have to wonder what this portends for sports media and outlets like ESPN. That they're going the direction of hiring just social media influencers. I know a little bit about sports. The Penn State graduate will have her, they're going to have her do these short form clips while also making appearances on Sunday NFL Countdown, Monday Night Countdown, and College Game Day. Now, look, I know what ESPN's trying to do here. They're trying to tap into, Gen Z and maybe even Gen Alpha. Is that the next one? And trying to get these younger viewers to watch their product. And maybe this is the last-ditch effort towards trying to do that. And maybe it works. Maybe followers of Katie Feeney will just decide, yeah, you know what? Katie Feeney's great, but I want to see Stephen A. Smith, too. Or Katie Feeney's great, but I want to watch Scott Van Pelt. So maybe they tune in for a few minutes to watch the Katie Feeney segments, but are they staying for anything else? I'm skeptical. I'm cynical. I'm both skeptical and cynical. I don't know. I just don't know what it means for where we are at this stage of the media hiring wars. All the best to her. I don't know her. I have no animus against her. I just question the strategy here from ESPN and what they're trying to do. Because on one hand, you have Pat McAfee, who's on his show denigrating a college student and trashing a college student and spreading false rumors and enabling stories to progress that weren't really stories about a poor college student who had to basically drop out of school and go online and take classes because of the things that people like Pat McAfee were saying about this young woman. And then on the other side of that, you're going to go and hire this young Penn State graduate, this social media influencer, to go and be one of the new faces of your network? Like, what is the message you're sending? I don't get it. Odds and ends. Hopefully not another sign that it's the end for our friend Novak Djokovic, who is dropping out of the Cincinnati Open and leaving many to wonder if this is indeed going to be the last ride for the GOAT, greatest of all time. As he tries to get ready for the U.S. Open. And I'm sure he'll be at the U.S. Open, but you just have to wonder, can he withstand the 2 weeks? Can he withstand the grueling task of trying to run the gauntlet through 2 weeks and be able to compete with and beat guys like Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, who he's likely going to have to beat twice in the same tournament? Again, we saw what happened at Wimbledon. We've seen him kind of struggle through physical issues here over the last couple of years. And it's sort of the same thing we saw at the end for Roger Federer. And the same thing we saw at the end for Rafa Nadal. And the thing we saw for much of Andy Murray's career. And many of the greats have gone through this. I, for one, think this is probably going to be it for Djokovic. I hope I'm wrong, but I fear that I'm right. That's going to put the wraps on this Tuesday edition of the show. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sports Wrap with Jason Page. Make sure to subscribe to our Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast as well. Thank you to Sam Yarnell. Thank you, Dianna Russini. They just don't get any better than her. She is a one of one. That does it for us. We'll see you back here on Wednesday for an all-new Sports Wrap.